If you've ever had the unfortunate experience of taking a faith-based sex education class, even at a public school, then you know they are all about pushing abstinence while ignoring all the realities of sex. And you may have heard a story like this one. The goal is to shame you from ever trying anything sexual. This is you. You're a piece of tape. When you have premarital sex, like this, the tape bonds to the skin. Skin brings two people very close together. Then you break up. How? And then you have sex with another person, which is that, and then you break up again, and then you do it again, and the bond is broken. Moral of the story, if you have premarital sex, you are like useless, disgusting tape. Whatever is on here is probably a disease. Of course, that whole metaphor makes no sense, because even if you wait until marriage to have sex, tape isn't permanent. This is nothing but Scotch tape slut-shaming. Or maybe you heard this story. This is you. You're a cup of water. And when you have premarital sex, well, the water becomes contaminated. If you have sex with other people, it's like they're all spitting into your cup. And when you finally meet someone, do you really think they want to sip from your cup? Moral of the story, if you have lots of premarital sex, you're like a glass of disgusting water. Be pure. Just drink spring water straight from the bottle. There's also a version of that story with gum. If everyone's chewed it, it's useless. It has no flavor. It's just a disgusting lump. The whole point of these metaphors is to make you feel bad about having sex before marriage. Those Christians want you to feel so awful about doing anything sexual. They're perfectly fine making you feel like crap if you have had it. The whole thing is messed up for so many reasons. I mean, teenagers get it on. It's what they do. At least it's what they try to do. They should use protection, of course, but that means they need to learn about protection. Pretending like abstinence is the only option without informing them of the others has always been an irresponsible way to teach them about sex. And what happens if you're the victim of sexual assault? You didn't even choose that. But those Christians would still have you believe you are as worthless as used tape or spit up water or chewed up gum. I've heard of Christians victim blaming, but this is victim shaming. It's just reprehensible behavior by those sex-negative Christians. It's harmful. And more importantly, it doesn't work. Studies have repeatedly shown that kids are not more likely to abstain from sex because that's all they learned. If anything, they have unprotected sex, and now they don't know how to handle the consequences of it. And I mean the emotional ones in addition to the physical kind. Recently, however, one surprising company pushed back against one of those awful Christian metaphors. Trojan, the condom company. They created a wall of chewed up gum in Washington, D.C. on the National Mall. It's there through November, reminding people that they are not worthless just because they choose to have sex before marriage. The ad for the campaign also says, "Information is the best protection." Jesus has got nothing on that. There's nothing conservative Christians hate more than kids learning things they consider taboo, or just learning things. In case you're keeping track, the people at Trojan can legitimately claim the moral high ground over evangelical Christians. Not that it was ever a hard fight, but this is one hell of a way to take the crown. Kids deserve real sex education. They shouldn't be shamed for having sex. They should understand how to protect themselves. Just like they're taught to wear seatbelts in a car. We want to teach them to be good drivers, but saying just don't have accidents doesn't prevent them. You never know what might happen. By the way, students also shouldn't be shamed for not having sex. Abstinence is a perfectly fine option for anyone who chooses it. willingly or unwillingly, and it should be taught alongside the other options. But making that choice doesn't make you a better person. You are not more decent for not having sex before marriage. You are not more pure. You're not more anything. And it doesn't mean sex will be even better when you finally have it, or that when you fall in love and get married to another abstinent person, it'll suddenly just be magical in the bedroom. Good luck with that. The scary thing is that a lot of conservatives think ignorance is the way to go here. Conservatives have spent more than $2.2 billion in federal funding for abstinence-only sex ed classes, or, as it's often called, sexual risk avoidance programs. That's a lot of money spent making kids more ignorant. We would be so much better off as a society if the only programs that received taxpayer funding were comprehensive.